Hey everyone. So this is a big one today. We're in the pre-algebra class and we're going to do the course challenge. So all the Khan Academy classes have a course challenge at the end. I've seen a lot of them be 30 questions. So that's what we're going to look at today. And hopefully it helps you out. All right. So this says, which of the following options have the same value as 96% of 0.25? So if I want to find a percentage of something, so 0.96 of 25, I'm just going to take that number 25, I'm going to multiply it by 0.96. That's the decimal version of 96%. So I'm going to get 24. So if I do that, 96 over 100, if you do that in your calculator, it comes out to 0.96. So this is the same thing, 96%. Percent literally means out of 100. So 96 over 100 is 96%. So I like A. B is literally what we just did. When you want to find a percent of something, multiply the number by the decimal form of the percent, so 0.96. C is taking that same idea, but it's multiplying it by 0.25, not 25. It is only looking for two answers. A and B look good here. D is off because the 96 over 100 is 0.96, but you got to multiply that by 25, not by 25 over 100. And then with E, they just did not use the decimal version of 96%. So E should say 0.96. So I like A and B. All right. So this question says Chris is studying a type of coral that grows at a constant rate. They measured the age and height of three pieces of the coral, and here's what they found. And it grows at a constant rate. So at 2 years old, the coral is 15 centimeters tall. But how fast do they grow? So this coral, this is a different coral that is 4 years old and it is 30 centimeters tall. So over a 2 year span, it grew 15 centimeters. So 15 centimeters, but that's over 2 years. So if we take this in centimeters per year, it's going to be 7.5 centimeters per year. Take the centimeters divided by the number of years, 7.5 centimeters per year. And it wants an equation. So Chris wants an equation so they can use it to find the height of any piece of coral based on its age. So it looks like if 2 years it's at 15, that means it started at 0. So I think the height is going to be 7.5 times the number of years. So the height, if we know the years, you can just multiply the years by 7.5, and these should all check out. All right, this is just straight up asking us what is the square root of 3.24. I'm going to use a calculator for this, and I think you should too. Square root of 3.24 is 1.8, so it's going to put that in there. 11 squared. So this is 11 times 11. Again, you could put this in a calculator. 11 times 11. I think the important thing to understand is that 11 times 11, 11 squared is equal to 11 times 11. The important thing here is understanding this equivalence. 11 squared is the same as 11 times 11, which is 121 if you know your times tables. All right, so we have a question here that asks us to evaluate 2 times 1 minus 1. So what it's really asking us is about order of operations. So parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, left to right, add, subtract, left to right. We only have multiplication and subtraction. So the multiplication is in the nd of the PEMDAS. So we're going to do the multiplication first. So 2 times 1 is 2. So this together is 2. And then we have 2 minus 1. And the subtraction is part of the as in the PEMDAS. And that will come second. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So I think I'm going to like the answer 1 here. This question says, choose the inequality that represents the following graph. So this graph here, it circles itself at 3, but it does not include 3. And it's shading all the numbers that are less than 3. So I think I'm going to like, this is showing all the values. So we'll say x is all the values, showing all the values that are less than, not equal to, but less than 3. I know it's not equal to because this circle is open. I'm not including the number 3. So I'm going to like this one here. X is less than 3. And it gives you some nice little, examples of how to read inequalities. All right, it says the hanger image below represents a balanced equation. That means that this side and this side have equal weight. So that must mean that 9.1 is the mathematical equivalent of 4 plus whatever A is. So I think that's actually what the question is saying. Write an equation to represent the image. So 9.1 is balanced with, it is equal to a plus 4. Plus 4. You could have said 4 plus a or a plus 4. I think I accidentally pressed. All right, so it says, write an equation to represent the following statement. The product of 12 and k is 84. So the product is things being multiplied. The product of 12 and k, 12 times k, equals 84. So that's going to go into our answer box here. The product of 12 and k it equals 84. And k, so I'll do 84 divided by 12. So it's going to be 84 divided by 12, and we're talking 7. So k is 7. All right. During the cold winter months, a sheet of ice covers a lake near the Arctic Circle. At the beginning of spring, the ice starts to melt. The variable S models the ice sheet's thickness. So the thickness will decrease. The thickness in meters after 2 weeks. So over time, the thickness should go down. That is definitely what this equation is showing. It's showing that the thickness S, it starts at 4, and then it's going to go down by 0.25 every week. The question is, how much ice does the sheets, by how much does the ice sheet's thickness decrease every 6 weeks? So every 1 week, it's going down by 1/4 of a meter. So in 6 weeks, I'll do 0.25 times 6, and that's going to come out to 1.5. You use a calculator, 0.25 times 6, it's going to come out to 1.5 meters. All right, nice. So this is a nice little function. It gives us a rule for a function, and it's basically saying, all right, you know all your x's, just tell us your y's. Well, I know that y equals x minus 1/4. So all I need to do to figure out y is take x and minus 1/4. Well, 1/4 minus 1/4 is 0. 13/4 minus 1/4 is just 12/4. So I can think of it like that. And then 8, how many fourths is that? Maybe I'll turn it into fourths. Or sorry, 2. How many fourths is that? I said the answer already. It's 8/4. So I'm saying 2 is equivalent to 8 divided by 4. 2 is the same as 8/4. So if I do 8/4 minus 1/4, I'm left with 7/4. So I should have 7/4. So we have some stars and points going on. It says the table shows a proportional relationship between the number of stars Roberto collects in a game and his total points. So stars, points, stars, points. So 8 stars, 12 points, 10 stars, 15 points, 14 stars, 21 points. The row of values is missing in the table. Oh my goodness. How many stars and how many points? So if we're continuing the trend, it's going to have to follow a trend on both. So we're going from 8 to 10, 10 to 14. I don't see a trend. So it's saying which numbers could be. So we need to figure out how many points per star. So 12 points, 8 stars. 15 points, 10 stars. 21 points, 14 stars. How many points per star? So I'll take the number of points and divide it by the number of stars. 12 divided by 8 is 1.5. This is points per star. 12 points, 8 stars, 1.5 points per star. So I can do that even here, 21 points divided by 14 stars. That also comes out to 1.5 points per star. So if we're going to have, let's think of it this way. I guess in stars, we need 1.5 times the number of points. So 2 times 1.5 is 3. So I like A. 6 times 1.5 is 9. I don't like B. 16 times 1.5 is 24. 12 times 1.5 is 18. So it says choose 3 answers. So I like A, C, and D. If I do 6 stars, I should have 9 points. All right, it says select the equivalent expression. Let's check her out. 1 over 2 to the 8th. Let's see. So let's look here. It says choose one answer. There's only one. So this here is 1 to the 8th over 2. That's the equivalent. 1 to the 8th is just 1, because that's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. It's just 1/2. Is 1/2 equal to this? This number is going to be actually very, very small, because 2 to the 8th is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. It's 8 times 2 times 2 times 2. Is that 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to be 1 over a huge number. So it's not 1 over 2. This is 2 to the 1/8. This is 2 to the -8. So with a 1/8, you're taking the 8th root of 2. You're saying what times what times what times what times what times what times what gets you to 2. 2 to the -8, if you have a negative exponent, you can do 1 over, turn the exponent positive. So this is 1 over 2 to the 8th. This is just kind of an exponent rule. So when you have a negative exponent, so if you have, for example, x to the -a, and I know I have like some other videos on this, x to the -a, that's the same as 1 over x to the a. It's like a definition of exponents. If you have a negative exponent, it's actually 1 over, and use the positive exponent. So 2 to the -8 by definition is 1 over 2 to the 8th. So this is going to be our one equivalence expression. This says Mandy works construction. She knows that a 5-meter long metal bar has a mass of 40 kilograms. Mandy wants to figure out the mass W of a bar made out of the same metal that is 3 meters long. So what I'm going to do, if you've got a 40 kilograms and there's 5 meters, how many kilograms per meter? 40 kilograms divided across 5 meters means that each meter has 8 kilograms of mass. 8 kilograms per meter. That's how much this material weighs. For every meter, it weighs 8 kilograms. That's why 5 meters weighs 40. So that means 3 meters should weigh 24 kilograms. 8 times 3. This says the bottom of Ignacio's desktop is 74.5 centimeters from the floor. The bottom of his desktop is 74.5 from the floor. All right, so you got like a desk, and then a computer. It's like your desktop computer. So the distance from here, the bottom to the floor, is 74.5 centimeters. Ignacio sits in his adjustable chair, and the top of his legs are 49.3 centimeters from the floor. So his legs are 49.3 centimeters. And this is the distance from his legs to the floor. So you can imagine these, it's like maybe from his knees, top of his legs, top of his legs to the floor. Okay, cool, 49.3. Each clockwise rotation of the knob, my goodness, each clockwise rotation of the knob raises Ignacio's legs by 4.8 centimeters. So every time he turns the knob, it's going to bring him up 4.3 centimeters per twist. Write an inequality to determine the number of clockwise rotations Ignacio could make with the knob without his legs touching the desk. Oh my goodness. So if we're going to do 4.3 centimeters per twist, so, and I think R is like, it's per rotation. So we're going to get closer by 4.3 centimeters per rotation. So I'm going to take 4.3 and multiply that by R, which is the amount of rotations. The inequality is the number of rotations he can do. So we need 49.3 plus. So this distance, he's already at 49.3, and he's getting 4.3 centimeters closer per rotation. That total distance he cannot exceed. The height needs to be less than or equal to the total height to the desktop, which is 74.5. So I'm hoping this is making a little sense, where what we need the distance, like the height of his legs needs to be under 74.5, because that's when it's going to reach the top. How high are his legs? His legs start at 49.3, but then they add 4.3 centimeters per rotation. So 49.3 plus 4.3 per rotation, that is what has to be less than 74.5. So I think it's going to like this. So it's going to like 49.3 plus 4.3R. That needs to be less than, it's without his legs touching. So let's just say less than 74.5. If I want to solve this, what does the solution say? So now it wants me to solve it. So if I solve it, I'm going to subtract 49.3 from both sides. So I get 4.3 R is less than 74.5 minus 49.3. So I'm going to use my handy calculator. So was it 74.5 minus 49.3? 25.2. So 25.2. That's how much distance was originally there. That's this distance. 25.2. That's how much left he has to go. But he's going at 4.3 centimeters per twist or per rotation. So the rotations need to be less than. I can divide both sides by 4.3. So it's going to be 25.2 divided by 4.3. So I can actually just take this whole difference and divide that by 4.3. So it's going to give me 5.86 rotations. Needs to be less than 5.86. I don't know if it's going to give me this. Maybe at like 6. I don't know. So let's see what the. Let me clear this. Check the hints. Get help. I need help. Oh, did I use 4.3? Oh my gosh. So if you go through this, it's going to say the exact same thing I said. I used 4.3 instead of 4.8. So I like 4.8 there. And then what that's going to be is this difference divided by 4.8, 5.25 is the number they were looking for. So I used the wrong distance per rotation. So if you